it's really a transition into full adulthood. That's what university life is to me, because that is the moment when you really deal with difficult questions about your identity, your place in life, not just your career option, but also like, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? You're 18, you're 19, you're 20. You really need to think about that. And this is like prime time to think about that. Like what kind of person you want to be 10 years down the road, what kind of life you want to lead 10 years down the road. And for so many young people, what I've seen is that they don't deal with those questions. What they end up being is they end up being a reflection of what their parents want them to be. And that, in and of itself, is not a bad thing. I understand that people, love their parents. I love my parents. I love my parents to death. But it doesn't mean that my parents can dictate my life for me. I respect my dad. I respect my mom. I love them really dearly. I love them. But it doesn't mean that they can dictate what my life could be. And I am grateful to have parents who don't do that. My parents are not the kind of parents who say that you have to be this. And I'm grateful because I know so many people who have that kind of parents. And what I try to tell people is that this is your life, right? And I don't mean that as in a rebellious way. No, I don't mean rebel against your parents. What I mean by that is make your own mind, make your own decision, figure out what you want, and then see if it's the best thing for you. At least try. At least try. Let's say you want to become an engineer, but then your parents want you to become a lawyer. At least try to become an engineer. But then what about your parents? Negotiate, discuss, communicate. Don't just be like, I tell you to do this. Okay. And that's it. No, negotiate, because you're not a child anymore. A child, yeah, I can tell the child what to do because the child cannot think yet. But if you're like 18, 19, 20, yeah, I know you still have your brain developing, but it doesn't mean that you can't think at all. You should be able to think something about your life, at least the basic stuff, right? About what do I want? What kind of person do I want to be? And of course, that idea will not be fully formed yet, but at least you have an idea. Like when I was in university, I want to be in psychology. I know that much. I don't know what psychology I want, but I know I want to be in psychology. And I know I want to help people with psychology. But I'm still figuring it out. But at least I have an idea of what I want. And with time, you craft that vague idea into something that's more and more clear. That's life. It's about figuring out the pathway of your life. And it's not something that's instantaneous. It's a process that happens over time. And you have to be patient. And above all, you have to make decisions for yourself. And yes, some decisions are bad. Some decisions are a mistake. But you don't know it when you make those decisions. And that's part of life experiences. You have to experience failure. You have to. And I'm not saying that experience failure deliberately. Jangan sengaja cari pasal. No. Jangan sengaja cari pasal. And when something is you know to be wrong, macam minum arak, berjudi ke apa ke, janganlah kata aku nak test sebab nak experience. No, that's a different story altogether. You're being an idiot at that moment. So pardon my language. But what I mean by that is things that relates to the kind of life you want to lead, the kind of person you want to be, the kind of contribution you want to contribute to the society and the world. You have to make that decision for yourself, because I know this is difficult for you to hear, but statistically speaking, you're going to live longer than your parents. I know that we don't know when death will come, but statistically speaking, you're going to live longer than your parents. Your parents will return to Allah. And if you live your life for your parents, when they're not here anymore, then what? Who are you going to please? They're not here anymore. And I've seen and I heard young people who are living their life for their parents. In front of their parents, they look like good kids. But behind their parents, they talk about, oh, my mom is forcing me to do this. I don't want to be that. I don't want to do this. I don't want to learn that. But, my dad is wanting me to follow the family business, but I don't want to be that. Behind their parents, they express all their emotion, but in front of their parents, they don't want to say anything. And that's a bad sign. You should be able to communicate with your parents in a way that shows that you're grown up. You're not a full-grown adult, I know that, but at least you should see yourself as a young adult. You're no longer a kid. You're not a child. So forget that. You are a young adult who are able to think something for themselves. And your parents should be there as a guide for you, not as a dictator telling you what to do. So that's what I mean when I say university is a time when you figure out what kind of adult you want to be. And yeah, in that process, you're gonna make some mistakes. I know that. And that's why your parents are there, to guide you, not to tell you what to do, but to guide you along the way. So when you do make mistakes, you go back to them and you process that mistake. That's the kind of parents that I want to be for my son. I don't want to tell my son what to do with their life. Be what you want to be, as long as you do something that's halal, as long as you contribute yourself to the society, as long as you do something that you're interested in. He could be a garbage man for all I care, but I will still be very proud of him. If that's what he wanted to do, if that's what makes him happy, and if that's what he wants to contribute to the society with, go for it. Go for it. That's it.